All right, I want to throw another name out. And we talked about how you engineered the collapse of the Soviet Union, and now we have Vladimir Putin.
Yeah,
Former
Vladimir? He's a good guy.
Well, yeah, I wanted to get your take. Do you? All the candidates, Democrat, Republican, seem to be touting the old war party line that Putin is another Hitler and he must be stopped. Again, except Trump. Trump says, I can do business with this guy. I can deal with Putin. And Putin seems to have some admiration for Trump.
Bring on the vodka and I can deal with him. Here, let me talk about Vladimir. I was sent to Leningrad. I'm on the renaming committee. Putin was, at that time, first of all, he started as a KGB. Then he got promoted to the GRU, which is bigger than the KGB, but nobody will admit that Vladimir was GRU, which is military intelligence. At Leningrad, we're changing the name. I'm also on the Economic Development Council in Leningrad, and that was a big deal because I was Reagan's guy, and Putin he tried to get me drunk in the vodka, and I knew that I had to eat a lot of French bread and a lot of butter being a Polak, so I could absorb it, and I did. So we were on the renaming committee of Leningrad to St. Petersburg, and there's a plaque in Leningrad showing the plaque of Putin and I and other people there, because I was in the Economic Council. The first time an American was ever in that kind of council. And it was right by, we did well. Putin's a good guy. I know one of my friends is a helper on his staff, and they all know me. I know that. And that's why Putin knows he could fight on behalf of the Ukrainians, because the General Agreement on Cooperation, the State Department of the United States had no authority to do a coup there. None. We have a peace, but see, they get the impression, and I don't know how they get this. Well, that's the previous administration. Well, how can we run a country from administration to administration when you don't know who you're voting and what's going to be real and what's going to be ignored? And the General Agreement on Cooperation allowed that the Ukraine could call the Russian Federation for help, and that's how Putin got involved. He had no choice.
Did that general agreement, did it also not stipulate that in exchange for, Gorbachev essentially, stepping down, that there would be no, did it not stipulate that there would be no NATO expansion towards Moscow, and yet that's what we've seen ever increasingly?
Never mentioned, the Soviet Union doesn't care about NATO. NATO is like a facade. In fact, NATO today reports to the United Nations, which is another goofy place. And I'm an ambassador to the United Nations. Good thing they didn't get me in there. I ask you all kinds of questions. For example, Great Britain is the British Empire. They have a vote for Canada, a Dominion. They got a vote for Australia. They got a vote for England. So they got 3 or 4 votes. We only have 1. So we got 50 states. So we have 50 votes then on the Security Council. It's all of a side. It's all theater. And the Soviet Union, you have to understand that the military-industrial complex and these politicians, that some like me and some don't, they always need a boogeyman. So we have a fear factor. And that's what's wrong. They're attacking tomorrow. They're attacking next month. They're attacking last week. And I can see Russia from Alaska. Well, yeah, right. And it's just crazy. They need something. And that's why Eisenhower wanted to get rid and tone down the military-industrial complex, because I was a nominee for Reagan to be the Defense Department Inspector General. I was there with Brynja Brassfield, across from Cap Weinberger and Frank Barlucci, and I would wave from Virginia's office because they knew I was a candidate Inspector General, being an industrial engineer and a tool and die maker. They knew I could read and write what the cost would be, because I was in the Mars projects and other projects. So
okay, we're coming up on a.
One more second, they told Penn James, Director of Personnel at the White House, wants us the last SOB we want as the Secretary of Defense. What? I wasn't applying for that job.